Happy Wednesday, troublemakers. We have a lot to talk about today. Ford's Lightning launch ahead of schedule. Come on. Consumers showing up at the auto show, and it's National Cold Brew Day, which is really good news for a father.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be.
I think the fact that it's National Cold Brew Day is so appropriate, Kyle.
It's so appropriate.
Because we were just talking, Kyle was like, today's going to be one of those days. I can always tell. And you can
let me give everybody my address that's listening right now.
Don't do that.
I'll give you my address as well as the closest places to order cold brew through DoorDash. Ready? Everyone get a pen. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Kyle, we were on the phone and he was like, sometimes that 4 a.m., whether you want to or not wake up because you have a baby, is that day. And that day is today, man.
That day is today. And we're going to make it. It's going to be all right. We're going to have a fun day. But yeah, sometimes you just like my wife, I'm holding the baby. It's like 6 o'clock. We're trying to get the kids ready. And I'm staring into the distance. She's like, you with us, Kyle? I was like, yo, oh.
You just kind of got the baby there, and you're just longingly looking into the corner of the room.
Right.
There's nothing even there.
Are you thinking about something? I was like, nope, not even thinking about it.
I'm just realizing constantly that I am awake right now. Strangely enough, it is National Cold Brew Day. I don't even know how I got on some Dunkin' Donuts email list. Maybe it's because I have a rewards at some point. I never get emails from Dunkin' Donuts, but I did today. I was like, is it National Cold Brew Day? Or are they making this up? Well, apparently up until 2 years ago, there was no National Cold Brew Day. But cold brew apparently has been around for a really long time. So of course I had to look it up right this morning as I'm preparing the show. Well, let's find out what this is all about. So in the 17th century, Japan, we find references to cold brew coffee. When French troops fought against Algeria in 1840, they used cold brew to combat the heat. I have a question. Smart. Seems smart, but I have a question.
All right, go shoot.
In 1840, and they're fighting. Where are they getting the ice?
Well,
or the refrigeration.
Well, so for cold brew coffee, you don't technically need the refrigeration.
I guess you have to let it steep a really, really, really long time.
The whole point is that it takes like 12 hours to brew.
I guess, but isn't it just like normal temperature water? Normal temperature beverage. I don't understand combating the heat. Either way, I was like, I have questions. I always have questions. But after
that's how you make cold brew. You actually let it sit in room temperature water, and then you add ice later on.
Oh, I thought you had to let it steep in the refrigerator.
Well, I think most people do that these days, because sanitary reasons and things like that. But,
sanitation and stuff. After a brief disappearance, cold brew stormed back into the limelight. Recently, in 2018, it represented $339.4 million in sales and a projected $1.63 billion by 2025. At least they didn't say 2030.
They are not auto manufacturers, right? No, and now we've got nitro cold brew, which that stuff is like that's crack juice right there. It's you get all the like feels of adding a whole bunch of cream and sugar, but with none of the additives, and it just like feels really
there's a whole sensory, like even just watching it like come out of the tap, right? It triggers a lot of things. It's a full sensory experience. If you've never had a nitro cold brew, just go order one and watch them make it, and you'd be like, yeah, that is pretty cool. Or you could probably just YouTube it, but it's better when you order it. It's National Cold Brew Day. You might get one for free. So
everyone's like ASMR cold brew.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff right there. If you do that, ASMR cold brew, that'd be great. We have a few other things to talk about this morning aside from cold brew. It just was the perfect segue. But we are having a party in May in just a few weeks from now, right? We're less than 4 weeks. The Asotu Family Reunion Remix in Tampa, Monday, May 9th. We just opened up tickets to the email list yesterday. Today, anyone can get one. So you can just go to asotu.com. There's a little header at the top. So you can get your tickets. If you're a dealer, our friends at AutoFi made sure they paid for your ticket already. So you get your ticket comped courtesy of AutoFi. If you are not an auto dealer, tickets are still really affordable, and we're bringing you all the value with the ticket price. So you're going to eat well, you're going to drink well, you're going to get an awesome retail swag experience when you come in. And it's just going to be a wild night of fun and learning from all the smart people in the room. And it was really encouraging to see that as soon as tickets open to the email list, the VAT, like 98% of the people who signed up were dealers or dealer personnel.
It's so good. Yeah, I absolutely love that. I mean, coming from the dealership world for so long, right? You when everything feels like it's centered around kind of like thought leadership on the vendor side, or like getting dealers to come pay for stuff, or everybody's trying to earn your business, right? To have something that you can go to and be like, you're just in, you get in. And not just that, but this is what I love even more. It's not like you're just in, it's like, no, someone saw it fit to bring you here. And so I love it's something that we after our last event, we're like, we're going to make sure this happens very soon. And we were able to make it happen a little sooner than we thought. But yeah, it's good.
I mean, look, we love our vendor community, right? Having lived on both sides of that.
We're in that community.
We sure are, right dang in the middle of it. But we do just have an extreme commitment to being dealer centric as a media publisher, which is why all of our investors are only dealers. A lot of other people wanted to invest, and we actually had to tell people no, because we're like, no, it's important that we stay dealer centric from an investor standpoint. Our content, our events are dealer centric, and our email list is dealer centric, not just in like confession, but also in practice. So I thought when those early tickets came through and there was all dealer personnel, I was like, man, this is great, because the practitioners are finding value here. So we're all going to get together on May 9th. So get your tickets if you haven't gotten them. And even if you're within like driving shot of Tampa, or you want to fly in, there are actually people that are coming in just for this event. Speaking of the vendor community, though, can we do a segue?
Time.
I don't think we've ever done a segue in the intro before, but Pitch Tank is at 10 o'clock today Eastern. So in just a little less than an hour from now, Pitch Tank, which is a vendor-centric presentation of new products that dealers and other brilliant people can shoot holes in live in front of your face so that you can make better decisions.
I'm really excited about this morning because there's two companies this morning that, had we not been referred them from other people that had pitched in the past, we would have never known about them. And so I'm just excited to hear what they have to offer dealers and just learn about some new technologies and partners that are in the space. So, if you've been to Pitch Tank before and you're like, I feel like I've kind of known a lot of the things that are going on, this is one of those mornings where you might hear something new that you've never heard before, because if I've been to every single one of them and now I'm saying I have found something that I haven't heard before, there's probably a lot more people out there like that. So,
if Kyle says it, shoot. If Kyle says it, it's the truth when it comes to just everybody. I can't tell you how many calls we're on, client calls, partnership calls, where someone's like, yeah, we heard about that. Kyle's like, yeah. Oh, Bob over there. Oh yeah. I helped them build that product. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? It happens all the dang time. It happened again yesterday. So if Kyle's never heard of it, you can be sure that it is absolutely fresh. You can go on your phone, not on your desktop, to asotu.club, ASOTU.club. And that way you can get the link to the room really easily and get you in there to have a little fun. The cold brew news was the first news that we were going to talk about today, but we talked about that before we talked about the announcements. So let's move down. Positive dealer news. Let's talk about this. I think we're over indexing on the energy and the good stories because it was so heavy on Monday. I feel like that. I feel like that.
We're trying to get off. Lift all the good stuff up. We started you so hard this week.
Nathan said that comment feels real heavy this morning. I was like, I feel like, we failed.
We're bringing all the energy. We're rolling through hump day. I'm excited about this one because one of my good friends, Eric Hall, who's at Classic Chevrolet, was able to share with us something really cool they're doing with not just, there's a lot of dealers doing fundraisers out there and, pressing into the community. And for so long, golf fundraisers have been a big part of just the way fundraising happens, especially kind of dealers are golfers at heart a lot of times. And we're headed to a conference this summer and they were like, the afternoon outing is golf. And Paul and I were both like, we're right. Just like with the mountains.
We're like, well, I could drive the cart.
Great cart driver.
I will carry your clubs. No problem.
Yeah. But what I love about this, especially in a time where we're seeing dealer markups like crazy, which is natural when you have a supply and demand thing going on. But specifically, they've got a bunch of Z06s coming in, which, if you know about the Corvette brand, is a unique and specialized vehicle. And it typically, even in non-inventory shortage times, we see dealers marking those up because they are in such high demand and they are in short supply. Well, what's really cool about the way that they've done this is they've said, hey, look, we'll take orders on all of these. We'll sell them all at MSRP. But in order to get in line, you've got to donate 50 grand to the annual fundraiser. So the markup is all going back into the community, like 100%.
Such a brilliant brand play. I love it. I love it. There's been so much conversation about MSRP, selling over MSRP. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it supply and demand? And so there's just been so much kind of tumultuous talk around MSRP that I thought, Eric's idea to just twist this into saying, hey, look, the market value of the vehicle is well over MSRP. So we're not going to ignore that, but we're going to make sure that that value goes into the community. I read that article. It's funny. Sometimes I read the morning email and I don't see everything that's in there before it gets published. So this morning, I actually saw it in the email. I was like, that's brilliant. What a brilliant play on MSRP. So, man, it's just good to see. I'm never surprised, right? I'm never surprised that someone found a great
so far
way to
this year,
it.
they have 27 customers pledging, with resulting in a $1.3 million that they're going to spread out over 13 charity partners. Like, y'all, auto dealers are centric to their communities and are doing incredible things. And this is just one of those stories. And so please, if you're listening, if you're watching, if you're sharing this with someone, share the sodu.com/positivity. And we want to hear more about it and talk more about it, because this is not just there's going to be someone in Seattle or in New York that goes, that's a great idea. I'm going to execute that same thing. And it's going to be just as impactful in your area, or maybe you're going to iterate it on it just a little bit, but that's going to push more into shifting the culture internally of our industry, and then pushing out the perception that of anything bad about our industry, because we know that's the reality of what's going on. And we just have to talk more about it.
Gotta make it louder. Hey, if you have a story that you want us to make louder, something similar to this or something else going on in your community, we created a page just for this, so you can easily submit it to us. Go to asotu.com/positivity and then just fill out the quick form. We will get the email. Maybe we can include it in the show and just let more dealers know about it, so that, like Kyle said, we can make the good things louder, because we need to make the good things louder. Okay. So let's talk about auto shows. Were you an auto show fan? Like, do you go to auto shows, Kyle?
No, that's not. I'm not like
the retail car buff.
I'm a car guy, as car guys go, when we talk about like being in the dealership and grow.
But you're not a car enthusiast.
But I'm not a car enthusiast. Exactly. I now have a passion for cars, right? But that's that's grown out of what my career has been. But no, I'm not like gotta go see the next new thing.
I'm very much the same way. I've only been to a few auto shows in my life. But the New York Auto Show just, relaunched and opened up after, the pandemic hiatus. And, the traffic is very, very strong. They're saying they're going to track over 1 million people coming through the show. And this show is pretty cool because it's got a 250,000 square foot EV test track. Think about that. You can never do that before, because you'd have the combustion inside, right?
Right. Golly, that's a whole new world right inside.
Yes. So people could test drive a range of EVs, Chevys, Kias, Nissan, Volkswagens, Volvo, Indy EV, and VinFast all had vehicles that you could test drive on the track. Here's an interesting thing, though. A lot of manufacturers chose to sit it out. List of manufacturers that didn't show up, or choose to participate in the show: General Motors. That means there's no Lyriq. No one saw the EV Hummer, which there's a ton of buzz around. Mercedes, BMW, Audi all passed. Tesla wasn't there. Porsche wasn't there. Honda, Mazda, Jaguar, Land Rover all weren't there.
Wow.
So, and from what I hear and what I read, the fact that there was this huge test track really kind of made up for the fact that there weren't a lot more exhibitions.
Right.
but man, this might be a missed opportunity.
Okay, it's either a missed opportunity or it's saying no, we don't need the auto shows anymore. We are speaking a more global language, and I think, well, Ford and we'll get a speaking of in just a second, but Ford and other like GM and Stellantis have really leaned into this kind of Apple-esque keynote presentation that launches things not necessarily in an auto show, but is based on their timeline, based on their desire to put that out into the ecosystem, and they're driving demand based on just like them alone, instead of having to sit in a sea of others. So I think there's probably something there as to what these brands are leaning into and being a little bit more individualistic instead of having to wait for the next new thing. I think about this on the side of like industry partners and vendors. You always think like everybody's going to come out with something new at NADA. It's like, why is it NADA?
Why does it have
when
to
you
wait
come
for
out with
NADA?
everything?
Well,
You know?
but here's an issue that I like. You and I were just talking yesterday about how EVs, like there's more automotive in the general news now that we pay attention to a lot of news all the time. We're seeing EV news in all types of different publications where vehicle stuff would have never been before, because there is a renewed interest in technology, right? And you have people like Elon Musk kind of making automotive like sexy again, right? From an entrepreneurial, technologically advanced standpoint. Remind me of a conversation I had with Jason Stein like 2 or 3 years ago. I have to pull up the interview. And I said, where do you think automotive has opportunity that they're missing? And he says, to be seen as innovators in technology. He said that like 3 years ago, right? I got to pull that up because, you know, it'll show him historically correct. And he's very smart. And I think that this is a missed opportunity while there is a general interest in EVs, because it's not like an iPhone, right? Where actually it's kind of disappointing when the keynote is so good when you get in the store and you hold it in your hand. You're like, I'm always like a little underwheled.
Right.
Right?
You're like,
because
well,
the keynote is so like,
minute,
my
right?
photos don't look like those photos. Well, that dude was also breakdancing on fire. You know, right? Right. And I'm just in the Apple store with my kids, right? It's a little different.
Yeah, you're like, son, do the spin thing. No, that wasn't great.
Yeah,
that wasn't great.
No, but driving a vehicle is such a visceral experience, right? The way it feels, the steering wheel feels, the way it smells. And EVs, like, let me just tell you, when you sit in EV and you hit the accelerator, dang, like you feel something. And so I don't know. I think that there's a big experiential play that automakers missed with the auto show, and we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of experience now with driving an EV because it is such a visceral experience. But speaking of EVs,
segue
time. We got to give a little quick props to Ford, because maybe in the first time that I can remember, they beat projections on when a vehicle was going to get off the assembly.
This is actually a first time ever for all industries. You're like, we beat construction, we beat technology,
we beat supply shortages, right? We beat everything. Why? Because we under promised and over delivered.
It's great. Yeah,
I
love it. I still think the question mark for me is like, what's the Lightning gonna be in relationship to dealers? You know, and how is that delivery timeline when you're thinking 200,000 reservations, you know, when they're making these 150,000, what is the dealer involvement when these Lightnings actually hit the lots, and how are the salespeople going to be prepared? How is the compensation? What's the margin? And can they execute on this? Can dealers and the OEM execute on the same experience that was the registration experience or the launch on YouTube experience?
A lot of hype.
Like, will that same feeling carry through into both the delivery and the ownership experience? Because it's kind of like this. If you show up to the first date with 12 roses and you show up to the second date with nothing, what happens, right? Loss of interest. What are dealers doing?
That's interesting.
Right? What are Ford and dealers doing?
How many people bring
like we're coming with the 12 roses? Like, how are we going to elevate the game from the consumer experience from this point on?
This is also kind of like, I know the Mach-E is out, right? It's been out. This is the first real, I think, shot across the bow with the precedent center on what it's going to look like moving forward. And when we say, what is the dealer OEM relationship going to look like? I think there's going to be a lot that's revealed in the next couple of months, right? That is going to take a lot of working through. Because right now, let's face it, if you're thinking OEM dealer, we don't like to paint it in a contentious mindset, but really having the first EV pickup rolling off the line gives the OEM a whole lot of leverage, right? A whole lot of consumer leverage, a whole lot of technology leverage. So glad that they were able to execute on time, right? They have 200,000 orders. They said they're going to be able to make 150,000 of those this year as they ramp up production. But that, Kyle, that really is the question, right?
Yep.
What does the relationship look like moving forward, and how can dealers and OEMs partner to deliver what the consumer wants in a way that everybody wins? I don't know. That's a question. We're going to leave you with that question today. Go get yourself some cold brew. Wake up a little bit. You're already awake if you're listening to this show.
Come on.
Keep pushing back. Send us your positivity stories to soda.com/positivity and get some tickets to that party.